My goal is to cover our house with art that's huge and inexpensive and makes me feel something. This is the inspo art within art with horses and kind of like an abstract background. So I just got to work with drawing and sketching the horses. You can kind of see there's one darker horse. I kind of messed up, but I wanted to keep going with it. And then I just stained it with coffee to give it this really beautiful weathered look. I wouldn't say I knew what I was doing the whole way here, but I had an idea and I knew at least nobody else would have it. So I just kept going with it. And art is kind of therapy too. It's a moment to, just take a breath and be creative and have ideas that, maybe nobody else has had and borrow some from people that have had ideas. So I got to using some drywall mud. My bad that I actually used some pink drywall mud. So you'll see at the end it sort of bleeds in, but I don't know. There's just something about the imperfection that I love. And I definitely relate to the people that look at those pieces of art and just find the beauty in the fact that it's so human, especially with the way AI is these days. So yeah, I just kept adding texture and making this sort of frame out of drywall mud. And as I continued, I kind of noticed that it was uneven and a little bit watery. So just kept mixing and going with it. And slowly over time, it started to harden. I just had a baby in September, and it's been really challenging to try and keep that version of myself that I was before, and then challenging to realize that that person is probably gone and it's time to find new hobbies and loves and challenges and inspirations. And I think that's what's really birthed my new love of art, is just like those periods of peace that I have where I can just really connect with this new version of me and get creative, as well as, I don't know, just almost feel this flow of something that I never had before and accept the imperfections of it. It's a really beautiful part of motherhood, and I love being able to put it into my paintings. One huge challenge for me, because I came from a corporate job before this, is that art really isn't perfect and it's also not recognized the same way. So when I spend a bunch of time doing this, I know that it's really for me. And at the end of the day, I'm the only one that can love it. However, I have gotten some really great feedback, which is, it's unbelievable and it makes me so incredibly happy. Yeah, I can't even express it. So, started making videos just so that I can see how far I've come and all the different techniques I've tried, which now I'm sharing with you. And I hope that maybe you'll put it in your home too, because if I can do it, especially in between naps, you can definitely do it too. I was also having some challenges a little while back because I wanted to post my art, but I kept having people I knew find those accounts. And I don't know, I could just tell that I was probably being made fun of, which is okay, and I think is a really good thing to lean into, because it's so easy to quit something when you think you're going to be judged. And I guess you just have to know where you're coming from and what your goals are. And mine was definitely just to find passion and find my heart, find, that deeper part of myself that really comes out and comes into the flow as I'm creating something. And I think it's something that we all have within. So now I'm just using these sponges to dab on a bunch of colors that I thought were nice. Initially, I was going for a really bright painting, but I started to lean into the more moody colors just based off of this painting that I had done before. And I do like the way that it turned out, because when it's in the sun, it looks really bright and happy. And on a rainy day, it's kind of this moody, just like deep painting. And I really love the versatility and way that it changes. I kind of think that that's the appeal to having art that's not a print, is it has so much more life and breath and movement and change. And that's why I really encourage people to try it out. I'm gonna be totally honest, this took me hours, like actual hours and hours and hours. And I think it's because it's just such a huge painting. And I kept going over the colors with different ones just to add more depth. But I don't know. I remember the first time I did this kind of sponge art background, I thought it'd be really quick, but you would be so shocked by how long it takes to get it to the point that you actually want. And by how many different textures can be created just by the way that your brush strokes go on. So be prepared if you're going to do that. I like to stick to a maximum of 4 different colors and then just use black and white to lighten and darken them, as well as kind of mix in those other colors. I find that really helps. And I also like to go in with the lighter colors in an area further from the dark so that I can come back with the sponge on the drier dark pieces. And I find it just gives it sort of like a cloudy, airy texture that I really like. You're probably not going to see this on this video, but I had a lot of creative forks in the road, shall we call them, where I took some more drywall mud and started piping flowers onto it. Hated the flowers, took them off, then tried to, I don't even know, draw over it with more paint. Wasn't working. And then eventually I went a completely different direction, which I'm excited for you guys to see and just let me know what you think. And I took some paper towel, dabbed it. It actually gave it a really cool pattern. The pattern on the paper towel went onto the painting, and I wanted to keep it, and I think I did in just a couple little places, but I ended up just rubbing it in to give it that more blended look and kind of keep it as that cloudy, moody, almost like emotional feeling on canvas. I remember the first painting I made, I hung it up and was so proud. I thought it was this beautiful abstract painting, and everybody that came in, it was hilarious. There was no comment saying, "That's beautiful, I like it." It was just like, "Oh, interesting." Here's a plot twist. I took off the painting within a painting. I know, so boring. And added all these little horses and cowboys and trees with those specks from the drywall mud. And I think that's my favorite part. It's just going with the changes and making 2 paintings out of 1. So this one is way more weathered, but I love it.